Welcome along to Betting Weekly Premier League Show. You're with myself, Dan Roebuck, alongside me, Nigel Seeley and Jack Wright. Nigel, how are you? Hang on, before we get to that, I have got the Mayor of Rotterdam on the line here. He wants a quick word with you. He was watching the live show yesterday. You were, hello, Mr. When are you going back to Rotterdam, Nigel?
Is that Gertz?
Yeah.
Hello, Gertz. Not for a long time, I don't think. I don't think it'll be on my list for next year.
Hey, listen,
I don't think I'll be welcome, actually, to be honest with you. So.
You got the pick right, though, didn't you? You went final, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, they're nutters, aren't they? You got to be on the side with the lunatics. To be honest with you, it's an industrial port town. You know, it's grim, it's grey,
Hang on, we did that yesterday. We can move on from there.
Well, you brought it up. I didn't want to talk about it. You brought it up. Don't blame
Jack,
me.
how are you? Have you been disparaging any European cities recently?
Not that I'm aware of, but apologies to Liverpool or Rome, as was the easy pun.
It's a great rendition. It was a great rendition from Nigel to finish the show yesterday. The Premier League is back. Nigel, what has changed here? What have we missed? Anything? Liverpool minus 360 for the title. Arsenal 3-1. Liverpool dropping points, of course, with that crazy end to the Merseyside derby. But Arsenal have lost their only striker. What do you make of it at the minute?
Well, I've missed you guys. Clearly.
Oh, that's so nice. That is so nice.
If you believe that, you believe it.
That is so nice. He's such a nice bloke.
He delivered that with a straight face as well.
I'm so gullible as well. I just believe anything. I just take it all in.
Well, I don't think really much has changed at the top. Obviously, Arsenal got this, another injury concern. Tottenham more injuries and more problems. Manchester United more problems. We're going to come on to their match a bit later on. The one thing I would say now is that from the time off, the bottom now seems to be 4 teams vying for 3 places. The Packers moved away to have a point for Everton, the win for Wolves, the hot dog. And the one thing to take out from the Premier League last week was we ended, I wanted to continue on that horrible word, momentum. But last time we spoke was our best week of the season. So, we wanted to bring that momentum into this thing. If you like the word momentum or not, I'm going to use it again. Momentum. But I think
you better get practicing your buzzwords.
Yeah, I think the top of the table is obviously, it hasn't really changed much. But the bottom of the table, I think there's only 4 teams at the bottom who can go down now.
Jack, what do you make of it? Liverpool minus 360. I mean, Arnie Slot's going to be banned, is he, for this weekend's game? Don't know how many players got sent off last night in the end, so I don't know what the situation is with suspensions and so on. Do the prices look right? Still Liverpool's to lose, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think Michael Oliver must sit down and go, what am I doing? Like, every time, it seems every game he gets.
There's enough fans that say that when he's in charge, don't we?
Well, this is true. Yeah, this is true. Yeah, doesn't put it out there. But it's been a weird couple of weeks, isn't it? We've kind of factored in the FA Cup break. There's been League Cup semi-finals in there as well. Then that league game last night, which was absolute carnage. How do they bounce back from that? And of course, the European action as well for a couple of clubs. So lots to take into account as well as the normal. And as Nigel said, today's show is brought to you by the word momentum, it seems. But we want to carry on where we left off before the FA Cup break. So it was a banging week, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a very good week. We're inching towards profit. As you can see, the boys' profit and loss on the screen for you here. Look, I mean, midweek was good for Nigel, all the boys on the European shows, and obviously, I think, did you go +1 Everton in the end with that game last night, Nigel?
+1.25.
+1.25. That was a half win, even going into the 98th minute or whatever it was. So look, we've been in decent form. If you want more, head to our Betting Weekly newsletter, or if you've not subscribed to it, it's free every single week, bettingweeklystudios.com. We're on Instagram as well, plenty of exclusive picks from the boys on the gram.
I think the big thing about the gram, if you're not on the gram, the big thing about the gram is Sean Calvert travelling business class. I think that's the biggest shock I've seen.
First time ever.
Honestly, nothing really shocks me over the years in gambling. But when I saw him sitting with his feet up and having a Bucks fizz, I could not believe what I was seeing.
I tell you what. Something. She's changed, Sean.
I can't believe he took Buck Fizz on the flight with him. Cheryl Baker.
He couldn't make his mind up. He couldn't make his mind up whether we were going to take them.
We're going to start with Friday night football this week. It's Brighton against Chelsea. It is Valentine's Day, of course, Nigel. Night at the Amex. Is that where you're treating them?
Well, I got 4 cards. I would have got away with a lot more if it was how quick the security guard was in the WH Smiths. got a lot more. It's Valentine's Day. Yeah, Mrs. Seeley's going to love it when I take her there for dinner. Nice bit of pie and chips watching the game. But we're going to start with that game. Obviously, it is Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
Jack's the one to have more cars than us. So
don't worry about that. I'll be lucky if I get one. Brighton are 2-2 on here. Chelsea are plus 135. The draw plus 245. Brighton lost their last Premier League game to Forest 7-0. Biggest defeat for over half a century. But they bounced back, of course, Nigel, with a win over Chelsea. I mean, that's an easy form line for bettors, isn't it? Shouldn't we just be playing Brighton here 2-1? Massive value, draw no bet at plus 120 or whatever. I mean, you're on same game parlay duty for this one. But, don't we just bet Brighton here off the back of that cup win? It's easy.
Well, it was everyone's given their cup picks, haven't they? And myself and Jack and Simon Holden have gone to the sidelines. We both went for Chelsea to win the FA Cup on the Instagram.
Some of us are still through, don't worry.
I know, I just said we're the only ones. All right, calm down. Anyway, I think I bet Chelsea last week. When I saw the team that Chelsea put out, I thought they're going to be too strong for Brighton, especially after that 7-0. But I should really practice what I preach, shouldn't I, really? Because I've said so many times when you have a heavy defeat, you put in a good performance in the next match. I never did that. I got sort of carried away with the vibe about Chelsea. The prices aren't really much different from the FA Cup here. They're not really much different. Chelsea are favourites, so it's like they haven't really taken anything to account in that match. And it was a match that Brighton edged, but nothing really overly convincing in the way they won it. But I think here, I mean, the line looks right on the money line. I don't really see much value in it. I look at this game and I look at the goals line. That's really where I want to play. I mean, 6 of the last 7 Chelsea matches, both teams have scored, has been a yes. 6 of the last 8 Chelsea road matches, both teams have scored, it's been a yes. 8 of the last 11 between the two of them, both teams have scored. And that's where I'm going to sort of start with my same game parlay. And actually, I don't have a great record on these same game parlays, but I've done a little bit of research here. I've gone for both teams to score yes. Which is minus 235, but I'm going to put it in the same game party because I do fancy goals here. And whenever Brighton take to the pitch, you think they're going to score and you think they're going to concede as well. I've gone for under 10.5 corners. Not really a corner better, but the one thing that I do remember many years ago when I was really trading the corners as a spread betting trader is that teams that have a lot of possession keep the ball a lot and don't really sort of go goals. Corners come from teams who are more high tempo and more at sides. Teams who keep the ball in middle of the park for long times, like Brighton do, don't really necessarily get a lot of corners, and that's sort of been looked out in the records. Both of these two sides are in sort of the mid-table for corners this season. Last week it was only 7 corners in the match. In the previous match between the two of them at Stamford Bridge, where I think it was a 4-2 win for Chelsea, there was 10 corners in a game that scored 6 goals. So I'm going to go under 10.5 corners. And finally, to make it up a little bit, I'm going to go for Cole Palmer to score at any time. He scored 4 goals in that match, in that 4-2 win, all in the first half in that crazy match against Brighton at Stamford Bridge. He should have scored the first goal. The goal should have been accredited to him in the first goal in the Cup last week. I don't know how it was not given to him. It was given to an own goal, but it should have been Palmer's goal. So he's got a good record against Brighton. He scored 4 in 1. He should have scored 5 in 2. So both teams to score, yes, under 10.5 corners. Cole Palmer to score any time. Same game parlay. Get it out nice and early. Then take the misses out. Nice bit of Pino Grigio. Nice bit of Chris de Burgh on the background. And then we'll see what happens.
Oh, lovely. Lady in red. Jack, you've got your 1 unit play in this. We're going big for the Friday night game here. Jack, you've got your 1 unit play.
We are. We're going in. Yeah, that lands. He won't need his Amex card, will he, for the fact that he's cashed his same game parlay. So, yeah, I've gone with a similar process, really, as far as I fancy goals. Nigel's line there on corners was a good one because I actually watched that last game, that reverse fixture, and there was about 5 Chelsea corners in the opening 5 minutes of the second half to skew it even further. There shouldn't have been anywhere near that many, to be fair. But, yeah, goals for me. Over 3 Asian total. I was a bit surprised if we could play that line. It's minus 120. My 1 unit play was close to being my 2 unit play, but switched it up at the last minute for all the reasons that Nigel's talked about there. These two sides, you look at them, basically you'd expect goals. Both have got pretty shaky defences. That's been worsened as far as Dunk's injury for Brighton, see if he's available or not. Whenever you're rotating your goalkeeper or got doubts about your goalkeeper, as Chelsea have, that unsettles the whole side. That seems to be the case with them at the moment as well. So, but both sides have got plenty of attacking threat. So would expect them to take advantage of those weak areas. So I do wonder if Nkunku coming into the side, he's now should get a run of games with Jackson being injured. He's a player that I've liked over the years. He got that really serious injury, didn't he, when he first joined Chelsea, and it's kind of derailed him. Now he knows he should get a decent run of games. I do wonder if this could be the point that kickstarts his career there, because they do create plenty of chances and they miss loads. So if he can start converting them, then we could see an upturn for Chelsea. Hanging on to that top 4 spot at the moment, and a bad run of form, haven't they? But yeah, generally speaking, goals in this, as I say, that last fixture I've probably talked about, I think about 10 times this season because it was so mad. 4-2 in the reverse fixture. That was the 5th successive league meeting between the two sides, which has seen at least 3 goals. 3 have seen over 3, so would have cashed this. 2 have pushed. 10 of the last 13 Chelsea games have seen a minimum of 3 goals as well. So goals across the board for these two sides. Over 3 Asian total. A push if there's 3 exactly. 4 or more for the win at -120 in my 1-unit play.
Plenty of action, we think, on the South Coast on Friday night. The early Saturday game is at the King Power. Leicester against Arsenal, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. Leicester at 10-1. Arsenal very short at -385. A big question here is how big a loss, Nigel, is Kai Havertz here. I mean, the stats with and without are pretty inconclusive, really, because there's not a huge sample size. But with Martinelli injured at the moment, obviously no Saka at the moment, Jesus is out as well. I mean, it is a blow because he is their main goal getter.
It's a blow for me because I had him as a captain in my fantasy football team. So absolutely, and I'm the Seedley League. I'm languishing in 3rd or 4th in my Seedley. There's only 4 of us in it. That shows you how bad it is. So it's bad for me. It's bad for Arsenal. I mean, there's no getting away from it. They haven't got anybody else to replace him. That's the problem. This is the big problem with Arsenal. Why haven't they bought me? The question we keep asking ourselves all the time. I mean, they're saying he could be out for the whole season. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a disaster for them because there isn't anyone else to come in that position. The only person who they've got to come into that position is Raheem Sterling now, and the way he's been playing for Arsenal is shocking. But for this week, I don't think it'll be a problem. I mean, there's bigger matches coming up, bigger tests for Arsenal. But for this week, I think without Havertz going to Leicester, I think that you should have enough to beat them. So it is a blow. It's a huge blow, and it's one of many blows for Arsenal and the injury concerns this season. And but this weekend, I don't think it shows you really, doesn't it? I mean, Arsenal were -450. The news come out yesterday, and they're now -385. The market hasn't really moved. The handicap hasn't really moved because of the opposition they're facing. So I'm looking at this game here. Do you know that Arsenal have the second best road defence in the Premier League? Who do you reckon's got the best defence on the road in the Premier League? Do you know the answer to that question?
Liverpool?
No.
Brighton?
Crystal Palace have the best road record, defensive record. Arsenal have the second best. And when you look at Leicester, we always think about Leicester as they're good for a goal. They're under Ruud van Nistelrooy, they're quite attack minded. Well, they're the 3rd lowest home scorers in the Premier League this season, behind the 2 teams below them in the table. So the teams at the bottom 3 have struggled to score goals. The last 4 matches for Leicester at home: 3-0 loss against Wolves, 2-0 loss against City, 2-0 loss against Palace, 2-0 loss against Fulham. So they've lost to 0 in all 4 of those matches. I just think for Arteta now, it's a case of just getting the win, keeping the pressure on Liverpool, hope Liverpool slip up and get that match for Arsenal v Liverpool and try to, do something with it and try. Have they got to play? Have Arsenal got to play Liverpool, haven't they?
At Anfield.
Yeah. So try to get to that game and make it a competitive match. Leicester have lost 8 of their last 9 Premier League matches. Arsenal haven't lost in the Premier League since November. So, we're talking about a crisis at the club, but they're getting results, but they're just not getting a slip up from Liverpool. So I've gone for the old tried and tested win to 0. And Arsenal to win to 0 here is my 1-unit pick this week, and it's even money. It's a little bit less now with Bet Rivers. I think it's like when I looked at the parlay, it was the same game parlay. It was -110, but anything around even money, and that is Arsenal on the money line and Leicester to score less than half a goal, and that is the way you get the price to the win to 0. Very good Arsenal defence, rocked by injuries. We'll go there and try to just get a result. And Leicester played a lot of fixtures in recent weeks and not scoring goals in the Premier League against the top opposition. So, Arsenal to win to 0. Old format, old tried and tested. And Arsenal get a win, narrow win, 1-0, 2-0, and hope that Liverpool can slip up.
And it might be tried and tested in terms of the way that Arsenal score goals, Jack. And does that buy into your sort of lean in this one, do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Nigel. I was looking at getting Arsenal on side, and so I think that win to nil is a cracking bet. I looked through it, and I said when you're looking at their issues in those forward areas, they find a way to win. They find a way to score. I say there's a very good record they've got. It's kind of slid under the radar a little bit in recent weeks. But how do they do that? Obviously, they're a massive threat from set pieces.
Yeah.
And Leicester very, very weak from set pieces, so it wouldn't be a surprise. I looked at Gabriel as far as his goal score odds is concerned, round about plus 350, I think, which was not quite what was floating my boat there. So I've kind of gone down a similar angle in that Declan Rice is on most of their set pieces, especially the corners out on their left-hand side. Wouldn't be surprised to see him swing a corner in and one of the Arsenal players gets a winner from a set piece. He's plus 360 for an assist, a bit of a different market for my usual. It's just a lean for me on that one, but I also think he will be a little bit more advanced in open play as well, given their forward issues. They'll get plenty of the ball against Leicester, plenty of chances in and around the box. So I'd say a double-edged sword for him there. Rice, to give an assist, plus 360 is a lean.
Yeah, I like that one because he's on all free kicks as well. He's, as you say, he takes those left-sided corners, but he'll take free kicks from outside the box, sort of either side. That's just a lean on Declan Rice then for the game at the King Power. Man City Newcastle next, 10 a.m. on Saturday. And the boys have joined forces with hot dogs here. I mean, in a sense, it's an easy one to pick, but drifted a little bit because the price is now 280. It's Newcastle to win. Obviously, Nigel, City off the back of that 3-2 defeat at Real Madrid. I mean, Pep Guardiola surely is going to rotate if he can a little bit here. I mean, no one's betting City at minus money, are they, at the moment here? I mean, this is a good opportunity for Newcastle, isn't it?
It's a massive opportunity for them, and one that I think they'll capitalise on the City again. I mean, it was exactly the same old thing, 2-1 up, going into the last minutes of a Champions League match and throwing it completely away, which has been the theme of this season. And you've got to remember as well, they were hanging on against Leyton Orient. I mean, in the match before, I mean, that Leyton Orient deserved to get something from that game. They played really, really well. And City are there for the taking. No one fears them anymore. I look at Man City and I compare it to a prime Mike Tyson. When Mike Tyson was at his prime, he steamrolled with everyone over. As soon as Buster Douglas put him on his backside, everyone knew we got him now. And this is what City are. If no one's, the fear factor's gone. You know, the manager's fear factor aside, people are going there and relishing playing and leave themselves very open. And they don't. However many goals they're scoring, they concede so many. The goalkeeper is atrocious. I mean, he's awful. I mean, I just don't know what's going on. We've spoken about it so many times. I think the thing is here is you either go in Newcastle to win this match or you have to play on the goal market. And because they just concede so many goals. If you look at their last 10 matches, all of them have been over 2.5 goals. Nine of those 10 have cashed over 3.5 goals. 6 have cashed over 4.5 and 4 have cashed over 5.5. And they've conceded more or less in every single one. So, it's you either go with Newcastle if you think you're looking for the value of the dog here, which this is what I'm going to do. We know that Newcastle have got goals in. We know Isaac could run this team ragged on his own. Or you go on the goal angle. The other thing, I mean, I think Jack's going to go the same with me, so I don't want to, go over the same old stuff. But obviously that Real Madrid match next week is the priority.
Yeah.
And then the week after the Real Madrid match, they've got Liverpool. So where does this fit? And they've got now they're favourites to win the FA Cup. Their only chances they're going to take that cup competition seriously. Where for Newcastle, they want to get in the top 4. The City want to get in the top 4 as well. But next week's Real Madrid game is massive. So Madrid on Wednesday, Liverpool on the Sunday, and then Newcastle here. I mean, it's a prime position for Newcastle to capitalise again on a poor City performance. So. Money line for me, Newcastle plus 275 is my hot dog. But if you were looking at a goal angle, and I was very close to do this one, I thought over 4.5 goals in the match at plus 280 could be an angle as well, because statistically 6 of the last 10, 60% of City matches have gone over 4.5, and you can get plus 280, and you know that Newcastle are going to score at least one.
Yeah, I mean, Jack, you have gone the same plane, just picking up from what Nigel was pointing out there with the fear factor. Eddie Howe, I think, in the past, when he's gone to teams such as City and Arsenal and Liverpool, he's played a very defensive game. His mindset is maybe to just get out of there with a draw if possible and sort of try and shut it down. But as Nigel points out here, and Eddie Howe's going to know this is a huge opportunity for Newcastle to win this game. And that's why I think it's value amongst all the stuff that Nigel has just pointed out. What have you got to add? Because I know you've got the same place, the same hot dog.
Same play, yeah. To have 2 hot dogs, it says it all, really, doesn't it? The fact this is a massive price for a bet that we actually
Nothing
really
wrong
like
with a double
in its own
dog.
right. Absolutely not. Right, definitely not. No, and I think how well Eddie Howe and how well Newcastle played against Arsenal over those 2 legs will be an absolute template for him to go and say, that's what we've done. Arsenal are in a better shape, a better threat than Manchester City at this moment in time. And they were exceptional over those 2 legs, home and away. Really, really well played. And Isaac was on fire, especially in that second leg when he absolutely roasted Gabriel and Saliba. What a handful he was. And this against his City defence, he'll be rubbing his hands together. They've obviously had a break this week to set up for this game, unlike City. City's eyes obviously on next week as well. They've got to take that seriously. You know, some of the stuff that Pep said, saying that they just can't maintain what they were doing for 90 minutes. He said that they've been a machine over the years and machines break down. I think, you know, he's putting out there, fully admitted that they're in that bad spot at the moment. Some of the stuff that I've seen, exactly the same reason for Nigel. I just picked up a couple of stats that I was looking at over the course of the week, which were interesting and really illustrate how bad City are at the moment. They've made 14 errors leading to goals this season in all competitions. Of all the teams in Europe's top 5 leagues, only Southampton have made more than that, which is an incredible state for them to be in. And then you've also got to bear in mind how bad they are at both ends of the game, the start and the finish. In the Premier League, they've conceded 7 times in the opening 10 minutes so far. Only West Ham have conceded more in the opening stages of a game. And in the Champions League, they've conceded 7 goals in the final 15 minutes. And that's the most of any team in the competition. They haven't got the legs anymore to go with it. They're struggling for these sides. The goalkeeper's now an issue to add to the midfield issue, to add to the defensive issue. Yes, they've got firepower, but Newcastle, with that energy and those legs in the middle of the park, this is tailor-made for them to go there and put a right performance in. 3 bets stood out to me. Over 1.5 Newcastle goals is plus money. Isaac to score is plus money. But I needed a hot dog, and this just stood out like a shining beacon that this is the hot dog at plus 280.
Just one thing to add to that, Dan. Obviously, it's the biggest match of the weekend. I think this is a real interesting match here. Newcastle have only failed to score once on the road in 15 matches right this season. And you say about Eddie Howe being quite negative in his approach, but this season there's a role reversal. Their last 9 matches, they've scored at least 2 goals in 8 of them. So going back to Jack's point, I was looking at over 1.5 Newcastle goals, and I just think that the 4.5 goals here is interesting at plus 280. It just, City will not be able to keep Newcastle out for me, and it's just a question of how if I think City will score, obviously with Foden and with Haaland, and it's also a question of where is the priority now for Pep, isn't it? It's like what is the priority? Is our priority to go to the Bernabeu and just have one glass go at them and have a go at them? Is the priority to win the FA Cup? Is our priority to get into the top 4? Well, that is the question. If you know the answer to that, then you know how they're going to go in this match. But on the evidence of what we've seen over this year, there is absolutely no way in a million years Newcastle should be plus 275 to beat this current Manchester City version.
Yeah. Big price. And yeah, as the boys, I mean, if City do win it, it would be 3-2. So if you're looking at goals as Nigel and Jack was saying, you've got to play the big numbers. That's City Newcastle 10 a.m. Eastern. We've got Jack's 2-unit play next. Southampton Bournemouth here 10 a.m. On Saturday as well. Bournemouth at a minus 195 is the shortest price they've ever been for an away game in the Premier League. It's the same price that they were to beat Southampton at home. Obviously, that was early on in the season when we didn't know exactly what these teams were going to do, even though we could guess what Southampton were going to do. I commentated on the Southampton-Burnley game last week. Saints didn't make too many changes and got beat. Bournemouth were good at Goodison and beat Everton here. So what is your 2-unit place, the best bet, or at least the biggest bet on the card for you, Jack, this weekend?
Yeah, I struggled landing on a 2-unit play. There's a lot of bigger price bets I like this week, and I kind of went with Bournemouth minus 1 Asian handicap. They are a very short price. It's minus 122 on the Asian handicap. I just think that they're going to beat Southampton, and it's a bit of a free swing at they're going to win by 2 or more goals. I looked through the prices. Yeah, it's trying to compare it. Generally speaking, when they've been strong favourites, they've gone and got the job done. And say that Southampton are just a woeful side, and at this moment in time, we've got one of the sides that are consistently bad, have been consistently bad, and show no signs of really changing that against a side that keep proving that they are good. They're going to places and performing well. Yes, they lost to Liverpool, but they gave as good as they got for large parts of that game, and were a bit unfortunate to come away with a 2-0 defeat. But again, that's their only defeat in a long time. They've been really, really consistent, and they've got 3 forward players on absolute fire at the moment, which can run havoc against this Southampton side that just concede goals for fun. 6 home defeats on the spin for Southampton. You mentioned that FA Cup tie. They just then got that win against Ipswich. We talked about momentum at the top of the show. There it is again. Can they kick on? Can they go and get a win against a lower league side in Burnley? They only made 4 changes for that game, Southampton.
I know.
And Burnley made 8, and Burnley beat them 1-0. And that kind of sums up where Southampton are at the moment. Short of confidence. One of those changes was actually bringing one of their best players this season back into the side. Tyler Diblin coming in after injury. So you'd argue that it was like an improvement in that area as well. But I just see Bournemouth having a field day here with how Southampton are playing, and the goals that Bournemouth score. Under the new manager, they lost 6 of their 7 Premier League games. Just that game against Ipswich where they got the win. They lost 9 of 11 home games in total this season. And so you look at Bournemouth, they've only lost to one side below 11th in the table. I think they go there with loads of confidence, playing very, very well, scoring lots of goals, and they'll go and get the job done here. They're only 3 points outside the top 4. This is a massive opportunity for putting some pressure on with those sides above them playing each other. A big chance to get right into the mix for those European places. So, yes, it's a short price. It's a little bit uncomfortable playing that kind of price, but I'm going with them because I just think they have got too much for a really, really woeful Southampton side.
-1 on the Asian handicap, -122, 2-unit play. Bournemouth hopefully to win big at St Mary's. Nigel, your thoughts on this one? I mean, I think we were all sort of leaning towards Southampton having a good day at Ipswich, but that game against Burnley I thought was poor. What have you got for us in this one?
Well, I agree with Jack again. Bournemouth -1 was the only angle I had here at -120, but it's a price that, you would want to be betting Bournemouth -120 to win this match. Not to cover it by 1 goal. It does seem, even though all the logic and all the argument is absolutely spot on, it's very hard not to make a case for Bournemouth. They haven't lost on the road in 6 matches, and as Jack said, Southampton have lost 6 straight. But to bet Bournemouth -1 at -120 just doesn't sit right with me. even though they probably will win, and Jack has made a perfect argument. It's just a price that doesn't sit right. Obviously, it's a local derby. We didn't mention that, so it's a huge derby for the 2 sides. The Southampton fans will make this as hard as they possibly can against Bournemouth. But in the reverse fixture, Bournemouth battered them. Really should have won by more. The statistics in that match flattered them, and we know Southampton don't score many goals. I think they've only scored 8 goals at home this season, which is dreadful. So yeah, -1 Bournemouth, but it's not. It feels a bit wrong to bet it. Really.
It does feel wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Don't say that's your 2-unit play.
Mate, no, it is. No, the price is uncomfortable doing it, but I say when everything stacks up for it, and as I said, the hardest part for me this week was finding that kind of price that you want a 2-unit investment to go on.
We could have done the 2U, 1U hot dog. Same game parlay, everything on Newcastle Man City. That's what we could. That's what we should have done.
That's true. Yeah.
I just think Bournemouth are flying at the minute. If you replace the name Bournemouth and say Man United were on a good run, you wouldn't have any issue but playing -1 at -122. Don't get foxed by the names of these teams. They're only names, ladies and gentlemen. Let's rattle through the rest of the Saturday 3:00 games here. Need some quick fire answers to these because we've only got leans on. Fulham Forest, first of all. Nigel, someone has to explain to me, Forest are 3rd in the Premier League and the Champions League, and they're +260 to win this one. How on earth is that right? Fulham just over even money. What's the lean?
Especially because
Forest are massive value. Just put it out there. I'm betting them this weekend, Nigel.
Well, you're betting a team that lost 5-0 in their last road match, I suppose. It's probably up to you, but we want to do that. I know they beat Forest 7. They beat Brighton 7-0. This is a team that historically have been absolutely atrocious on the road.
They're
for the
3rd
last
in the
2 or 3
league,
seasons.
Nigel. They're 3rd in the league.
Don't back teams on names and everything like that.
Don't back these on places.
Fulham is a funny one because they're much better on the road. They went to Newcastle and won, and then they at home they haven't won in 5, lost once and drawn 4. But as I said, we said with Fulham as well, whenever they're the favourites, you can't really trust them. They're the favourites to win this match. In the reverse fixture last season, it was 5-0 to Fulham as well. That may be something to do with that in the fixture last season. I found it a difficult one to call. I thought Forest on the draw no bet market were potentially a bet, but I had if I was going to have a little bet here, I think it would have to be Forest at plus 260. But I think the market and everyone is just thinking that Forest is just going to suddenly hit the buffers. It may not happen. And Fulham here, very short at plus 114, but I think Forest at plus 260 would be the value in this match.
Jack, you got a goal scorer for us?
I have, yeah. I always get Fulham wrong, so I'm kind of avoiding the mainline markets there. I kind of looked at the goals as well. Line is very low here, but there's justification for that. I've gone with Raul Jimenez to score in this one. He loves playing at home. He scores his goals at home. 11 goals this season across all competitions. 8 of them have come at Craven Cottage. He's also got a very good record against Forest. He's faced them 3 times and he scored 4 goals. He scored at least 1 in each of those games as well. He scored 2 in this last year in that 5-0 win that Nigel talked about. He scored 1 goal in the reverse fixture earlier in the season, and he also scored in an EFL Cup tie for Wolves when he played for them in 2023. So form, course and distance, we'll take him. Plus 240, I thought was quite a decent price for a man in fairly decent form.
West Ham versus Brentford, also 10 a.m. on Saturday. Are the West Ham fans turning on Graham Potter yet, Nigel? Here, what's your lean here? Just 1 win in the last 7, 2 in the last 10. Not got it right. It's no bounce here.
Well, but the thing is, they've been decimated by injuries, as we said. I did say last week that Jared Bowen can't walk, and he came off the pitch and it's gone on the pitch and scored. I thought as soon as that goal went, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to get some grief for that. Anyway, do you know what? This is quite funny. Anyway, this week I thought to myself, there's been so many teams that have been involved in FA Cup action, Champions League action, as Jack said. So I'm going to make my whole argument for the teams that have had a lot of rest. There's 2 teams that had a lot of rest, West Ham and Brentford. They play each other. What are your chances? If West Ham or Brentford had played somebody else, I thought the argument you can make, they've had these sides have had 12 days rest, whereas Liverpool have had 4 games in that period. These sides could have gone on holiday for 10 days and come back training. They're playing each other. My argument, I wanted West Ham to play a Fulham or Brentford to play Southampton or something. I think they're improving under Potter. I think they're improving. I think they're getting their players back. The fact they've had 12 days rest means that they can bring back their players. They're signing some decent players as well in the transfer window. I think that they're a side that I do believe will end the season quite well. Brentford, on the other side, have been brilliant at home all season. Fantastic team to bet. And then at home, their home form was deserting them. And the last time they played at home, they got beat by Tottenham. I'm looking at this and I want to get with West Ham. I think Brentford could be a favourite. We know Brentford have got goals in them, but I think West Ham, with their players back and with a goal threat now in the side with Bowen, amazing recovery what he did in a week. But I think West Ham here at plus 125 would be my lean.
Yeah, I know they're a little bit bigger. This is your lean as well, Jack, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. What's the price now? Plus 143.
Well, plus 125. Plus 125.
Wow. Yeah, they were plus 143 on a pot to through last night. So, yeah.
Your money's moved the market.
Oh, well, yeah, as always, isn't it? But, the strong confidence I got in West Ham beating Brentford. A tough one to call. Agree, Nigel. I said Potter's, you're seeing some signs of progress in different areas. And so with Bowen back, that's a real threat for them and a goal scoring threat. So I've got them to edge it, yeah. It's a tough one to call, but I think with that time on the training pitch under Potter, he's getting those messages across and could have enough here for Brentford, who have been poor on the road, albeit picked up in the last few weeks. But I think, with home advantage, I think West Ham can take this one.
Give me 2-1, Nigel, Brentford. Bullseye.
No.
Well, the plus 195. Thought you liked West Ham. You give me 2-1?
Go on him.
Hey, there we go.
Go on
in. Villa Ipswich next. Quickly on this one. Ipswich, the sevens. Villa minus 265. I looked at this and thought, well, Villa will probably win. Can't get excited about it. Can't get, where do we go? Asian line, goals. Nigel, what do you think?
Asian line goals, Nigel. I've found it impossible.
It is impossible.
Well,
this is classic no-bet material.
Well, there is one kind of angle that I come up with.
Hello.
And one angle, and it's a goal-scoring angle. Ollie Watkins is probably injured for the match, won't feature. Turan has obviously gone. And I think Marcus Rashford may lead the line for Aston Villa here. You know he's been a friend of mine in these shows before when I've gone to him to score at any time. I think he's gone to a new club. I think he'll relish the opportunity here. And I think he'll lead the line against an Ipswich side that we know aren't very good. He played in the match earlier in the season for Manchester United against Ipswich, and it took him 81 seconds to score the first goal and the hammering. That's loyalty for you, innit? You score after 81 seconds in the manager's first job, and then you don't get a shout again. But I think Rashford at plus 110 to score any time would be my bet here.
Yeah. Jack, what you got?
Yeah, I've gone for both teams to score. Issues with Villa's defence. We know Ipswich have got that issue as well. 9 of 12 Villa home games seen both teams to score, 75%. 8 of 11 Ipswich away, 73%. So my maths would suggest that's a 74% combination. 7 of the last 8 Villa at home, including the last 4. 7 of 9 for Ipswich away, including the last 2. Liverpool and Fulham reverse was 2-2. I just think there's goals in it at both ends. So yeah, both teams to score at minus 127.
12:30 Saturdays, Palace versus Everton. Palace are minus money favourites here. Everton plus 350 after that unbelievable finish at Goodison. I mean, obviously an emotional last derby at Goodison, Nigel here. And in a way, you sense that Palace away for David Moyes' side is probably the worst possible opponent for them because he's going to be very, very different sellers. But Palace are minus money here. Your 2-unit play comes in Palace-Everton for us this week.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's going to be very hard for Everton to lift their spirits into this match. I mean, that was just a wild 5 minutes with the goal, the VAR decision. Then they wanted to check whether there was a push on the player. And then, what we saw after, it was mad. The adrenaline in these players must be running incredible. And then they've got to come here, go to Crystal Palace on a very, very cold afternoon. I think this is going to be tight, very close. Now, I'm going to show you something here. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but this is something that I want to show you, right? This here is a machine that I have, and this is the infamous 0-0 detector. Now, you plug this in to the machine. Now, this has been bleeping since you said this match. It has literally been bleeping, and it's jumped off.
What you were looking for?
I couldn't find it, but there was so much noise going on. There was so much noise going on, and I'm searching for the 0-0 detector, and there it is. That's the infamous 0-0 detector, and it's blowing up all over the place. And I just looked through some of the fixtures between these two sides. FA Cup last year, a game that I was at, was the worst game you've ever seen in your life. The rain was pouring down. It was 0-0. 2020, 22, 20. Oh, calm down, 0. 21, 22, 22, 23, 0-0. Season 2019, 20, 0-0. 18, 19, 0-0. 15, 16, 0-0. 13, 14, 0-0. I tell you what, it's going ballistic, this 0-0 detector. 6 of the last 7 home matches.
I can't believe that you've waited until, what are we, February the 13th to actually show us the 0-0. And that's this season, because the previous
Dan,
seasons.
there is a reason for that, because I asked Paula, what did you want for Valentine's Day? I said an upgraded 0-0 detector. And that is why I brought it out. Anyway, Palace's last 7 matches, 6 of them under 2.5 goals. The only one that's gone over 2.5 goals, the one that I said would be under 2.5 goals against Brentford, was at minus $4 at half time. Everton's last 9 road matches, 8 of the 9 under 2.5 goals. Under 2.5 goals here is my bet, the 2-unit play of the week, minus 148. And I don't know if you can hear it. That is the 0-0 detector telling you now this could be the 0-0 of the season. I do remember doing a similar thing last season and it ended 3-2. But anyway, we'll forget about that. But under 2.5 goals, minus 148. I think the time of this match, we said about how strong Palace are defensively. The back three they have are really, really hard to break down. Everton have got suspensions now. They've got injuries as well in 4 positions. I think Moyes will come here. I think it will be a point each. And I think honours shared and 0-0 would not surprise me at all. And the other thing, the weather at the weekend, I think we're going towards minus 0, minus degrees. So Perfect. 0-0.
Plus 750 0-0, incidentally. Jack, what do you think? Palace Everton got a lean for us.
Well, I hope Paula doesn't watch this before Valentine's Day. I know she normally does, but it's going to ruin the surprise. But, very, very similar theme. Yeah, it was very tempted with the under 2.5 goals. That was the kind of first one I earmarked when the fixtures popped out. But I've gone for half-time tie for a plus money lean, plus 114. For all those reasons, very tight, very cagey. Both sides like to kind of get a foothold in the game before then trying to nick one or two later on. I say, and Dye looks like it's a serious injury for him, so that's going to certainly restrict Everton's attacking talent. I don't know if they can rely on any more James Tarkowski volleys from around the edge of the box, but we'll see. So yeah, say all the stats that Nigel trotted out there are the reasons why I've gone for that 0-0. The last 4 Palace games have been 0-0 at half time. So hopefully that continues right through to the 90 this time round. But yeah, looks very tight, this one.
Half-time tie, plus 14, just plus 114, just the lean for Jack. Sunday fixtures for you this weekend, Liverpool Wolves and Tottenham versus Manchester United. We'll tackle Liverpool Wolves first of all. This is 9 a.m. We've got a couple of leans for you in both games. We'll first of all get Nigel's thoughts on Liverpool Wolves. Liverpool obviously very short here. The odds say easy win. Asian line is minus 225. Liverpool have got a cover. And do you know what? Despite dropping points very late on at Goodison, I don't think it's really going to affect Liverpool here. I just think, they knew what they were going to get into at Goodison Park. I know Arnie Slot's not going to be on the sidelines. I don't know if that makes any sort of difference at all for this one. Nigel, what are your thoughts on Liverpool Wolves? I think Liverpool are winning easy, but the Asian line might be a bit too far.
I wouldn't be betting minus 2.25 because I don't think they have to win easy. They just have to win. Yeah. This is the
comfortable, like 2-0.
Yeah, but you're going to lose, aren't you? Yeah. Minus 2.25. I mean, I just think just get the 3 points. That is all you got to do. The matches are coming fast and furious for Liverpool. The success they're in, obviously, they've got to play Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday. I mean, they're crazy matches, and they've got a big enough squad to cope with it. They will.
Touch of the Craig Davids there.
I know, and they do. I think they will. I think they will win, but minus 590 is the price you've got to take from on the money line. I think Liverpool give up a lot of chances, and we've seen against Everton that they could score 2 goals at home this season. They've already conceded against teams that are pretty poor. Leicester they conceded against. Ipswich was my win to 0 against Liverpool's. The last kick of the game they conceded in that one, and I think Wolves have got an attacking threat. They're a team that have got better. They've obviously won for us last week as a hot dog in a 2-0 win. They were very professional in their win against Blackburn. They went there and done a real good job on Blackburn. And in 15 road matches this season, in all competitions, Wolves have failed to score in 3. The reverse fixture was 2-1. They scored against Liverpool here. So both teams to score yes was my angle, minus 117. I think Liverpool will win, but I think Wolves will score.
Goal scorer for you, Jack, in this one?
Yeah, I've gone for Cody Gakpo, plus 160. I think as far as Wolves are concerned, this is a game that Cunha will certainly be looking to show his talents with a summer move on the horizon. Can he put a dent in Liverpool's title challenge? We'll see. But I've gone with a form horse here with Gakpo. 8 league goals this season. 7 of them have come at home. At least 1 in each of the last 5. He's actually scored in his last 7 appearances at Anfield. So he's on a real good run there. He's also playing, assuming he does play on that left-hand side, in a weak spot for Wolves, so he can make the most of that. And we see as much as Salah is a goal machine, he's also an assist machine as well. And they do get a lot of joy with Salah out on that right-hand side and filling in the back post and tucking some easy chances away as a result of that. And say Nigel's talked about it there. Liverpool have got some real tough games coming up. They want to get this job. So you look at the handicap here, and I think Liverpool just want to go there, get this job done, and move on. Villa away 3 days after this, then Man City and Newcastle in the space of the following week. So some huge games for them against some big sides. Get the job done here. So I've gone for Gakpo. When you look at the odds for goal scorer here, Salah is rightful favourite, of course, at minus 122. Then got Nunez, Jota and Diaz all ahead of him in the market, and I don't quite work that out. So Gakpo, I think, is the value goal scorer at plus 160. Game should have goals.
As should the final game of the Premier League weekend, which is in London. It's Tottenham against Manchester United, 11:30 Eastern kickoff on Sunday. Spurs are plus 138, United plus 175 the draw. It's plus 250. If you bet the opposition to beat Spurs in all games in the Premier League this season, for your $10, you're $210 up. They are the most profitable team to oppose. The second most profitable team to oppose, Nigel, is...
I didn't listen to the question, sorry. I was miles
Jack
away.
is...
What was the question?
Craig David.
David is the right answer. It's Manchester
Man
United.
United.
Can you fill me in, please? Let me know.
Yeah. There's no walking away from this game, mate. Crack on.
Come on.
Oh, for God, stop it there. This is a game that you want to oppose them both, but you can't. Nigel, lean.
I don't know. I've got absolutely no idea where to start on this match. Honestly,
shocker,
really.
it's
I was hoping
shocker.
you'd go to Jack and I'd just piggyback on whatever he said. I really don't know. Well, you say there's going to be goals in it, and you look at it and think there's got to be goals. Earlier in the season, it was a 4-3 win in the League Cup, 3-0 win for Tottenham at Old Trafford. Tottenham are absolutely decimated by injuries, more injuries again this week.
Sorry, Ange.
So but their injury crisis is unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, and obviously you've got a Man United side who are much better on the road than they are at Old Trafford in recent weeks. Went to Fulham 1-1-0, got a draw against Liverpool, got a draw against Arsenal. But the goal line here is 3.5, and I just got a feeling this one could be the one to swim against the tide with the 3.5 goals, because both managers are under somewhat kind of pressure. I mean, I know Ange only has one way to play, which is an attack, and at Tottenham this season there's been 50 goals scored in the Premier League games in 12 matches. But I just got a feeling here this might not be the goal fest that we are anticipating. I think 3.5 is a big line. If you look at Manchester United, that's what I was looking at Manchester United here when you were asking me them quiz questions. Manchester United on the road are the third lowest goal scorers in the Premier League. And only Everton and Southampton have scored fewer than Manchester United. And Manchester United on the road, I've got the second meanest defence behind Crystal Palace and joint with Arsenal. So Man United road games do not get these goals that we expect. So this is it's a classic matchup between a side in Tottenham who are full of goals, gun-ho in their style, and a Man United side who are much more pragmatic. And I think when the goals are 3.5 and you get 3 as a push at nice plus money, this is a kind of game that I would want to trade against the way that the market or the public sees this game going. So for me, I'm anti-goals, under 3.5.
Under 3.5. United, the most profitable under 3.5 team in the division, incidentally. Jack, what have you gone for Spurs United on Sunday?
Well, I'm glad you asked Nigel first, so I can piggyback on the back of everything that he said there. Yeah, this game. What? It could be anything. Any result, any outcome, any scoreline wouldn't surprise you, really, would it?
That's what we like from our tipsters. Could be anything.
Well, I'm glad we saved this one to last. Eh? It's two sides that are just so unpredictable, isn't there? It's the only thing predictable about them is that they are very unpredictable. Man United a bit better on the road, and Nigel's touched on it there. The goals are it's all well and good saying, there's going to be goals in it, but we've got sides that struggle to score them, really, to be fair. Spurs are without Solanke. Son's not the same as he has been over the last few seasons. Richarlison, another injury for him. It's just one of those that you're looking at and you're going, there probably will be chances, but who's going to put the goals away? And it's tough to ask. So I've sat on the fence. I've gone with a tie, plus 275. Can't split them. Don't know what they're going to bring to the table. Man United, say, have won 5 of the last 7, but somehow you look at all those wins and you'd probably argue that they were lucky in pretty much all of them. So it could be anything. Hopefully it'll be entertaining, but predicting it, one to avoid, I think.
Yeah, difficult one to call. Spurs United to round out the Premier League weekend. Nigel, Jack, thanks for your company. Good luck to one and all. We'll keep everyone updated via our X feeds. That is a wrap for Betting Weekly Premier League show. We'll be back next week. Picks, plays, hot dogs, same game parlays. We've got the live show, of course, 11 a.m. Eastern every midweek day. Make sure you follow us at Because We Win. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Get your comments in as well. Always great to hear what you are betting over the course of the weekend. That is your lot from us for today, though. Have a good one. We'll speak next week.